Chelsea are set to rival Liverpool and Manchester United after the price of Jadon Sancho was revealed to be £78 million. We know Chelsea Football Club have been pursuing Haaland with great vigour in recent weeks, but it does appear, according to Dortmund, that deal may not go through this summer. So it appears Chelsea may have turned their attentions to Manchester United and Liverpool target Jadon Sancho in a cut price £78 million deal. Do me a favour, hit the like button, share button, subscribe to the Football Terrace as well. Good morning, by the way. Big day of football for Chelsea Football Club. And this news, I don't know how Chelsea fans feel about this news today. I want your view and I want your opinion on it. Chelsea fans have long since believed that they have a good opportunity of bringing Jadon Sancho to Stamford Bridge. We, of course, know he grew up as a Chelsea fan. He has an affinity with the club. He has friends at the club. He's from London. Just in case anyone doesn't know, Chelsea are based in London. In terms of the news story, it says Chelsea are reportedly one of the latest clubs to show a great interest in a transfer deal for the Borussia Dortmund winger Sancho. Man United are also chasing Sancho, and sources understand that it looks like the Blues could be tempted into pursuing a deal for him as well. German outlets state that Sancho is now also a target of the former Dortmund boss Tuchel at Chelsea, whilst England's international looks set to be available for a cut price. Sancho could be a superb signing for Chelsea right now. Upgrades are needed due to the struggles of Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech. Both players joined West London last summer, but are yet to really settle and show their best form. Pulisic has also been slightly inconsistent, mainly due to injury, whilst Callum Hudson-Odoi now seems to be out of favour with Tuchel, based upon him being used as a wing-back rather than a forward in multiple games. And I think this was the point a lot of fans were saying yesterday, where these loose links were to Jadon Sancho. Why? You've got Hakim Ziyech, you've got Werner, you've got Callum Hudson-Odoi. Is it just the case that Thomas Tuchel views Jadon Sancho as better and with more potential than all of those players, especially Callum Hudson-Odoi, who was the generational talent that many of us thought was going to progress hugely at Chelsea over the course of this season? It just, it remains to be seen whether or not he is going to be getting more ample game time there. Terry, why has Sancho's value halved within 1 year? Well, it hasn't halved, and it's not his valuation that has dropped. It's the price of which you can sell somebody for. So Dortmund set a valuation of 120 million euros as opposed to that being his market price. What has happened in that time is that Sancho is now a year later into his contract. The less time you have remaining on your contract, the lower the market price is for a player. You equally have a situation where Dortmund may miss out on Champions League football. So what they'd banked on is fans coming back, their income going back to normality, and being in the Champions League football. But because there's no fans all season, because they may not make the Champions League, that's £900 million out of their coffers. It makes them more desperate to sell, to continue their business model. When you are when the vendor has a necessity to sell, you get less money. So it's not about his valuation dropping per se. It's about the circumstances surrounding the deal within itself. Sancho is a City fan. He's not a City fan. He grew up a Chelsea fan, I believe. There's no doubt about it. But these are the reports this morning that Jadon Sancho could be on his way to Chelsea this summer. And I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this. In other news today, which I think Manchester United fans will be very eager to understand and talk about, Edwin van der Sar. Edwin van der Sar has spoken about the potential of taking over at Manchester United. He says here, the work and pressure, you should have a feeling, the work and pressure, you should have a feeling with the club. I won't work at a club where I don't have a feeling. I could only do this for Ajax or Manchester United. I would not work for any other clubs. These are big words. These are huge words from Edwin van der Sar. They truly, truly are. He's spoken out about it again. He also said, "There's nothing new to me. My name circulates at Manchester United. I've been circulating at Manchester United for a long time." This is what he told ESPN about the recent rumors. But look at that statement there at the end. "I would not work for any other clubs." Edwin van der Sar is regarded as one of the very best CEOs, football men in the world. And he has stated he would only ever work for Ajax or Manchester United. If this is not a come and get me plea, then, you know, I don't know what else is. I mean, I don't have much else to saying it than that. He's been questioned about his connection to Man United. He said he's used to the connection to Manchester United. He said he only has an emotional connection to two clubs, Ajax and Manchester United, and he would only work for two clubs. Edwin van der Sar is leaving. Manchester United need a real leader at the top. Someone who has been there and done it and is qualified, both from a technical and commercial element, but has that football knowledge. And if the Glazers don't want to sell, if the Glazers are adamant that they are going to keep hold of Manchester United Football Club, then it becomes imperative that they make a change like this. And I'll tell you as to why it becomes imperative. I'll tell you why it becomes imperative that they make a change like this. Manchester United fans' latest anti-Glazer protest takes an aim at the new sponsor. So Manchester United fans yesterday took to Trustpilot and have given thousands upon thousands of negative reviews about the new sponsor, TeamViewer. They had I think it was 4.5 star rating on Trustpilot. And within a day, Man United have crashed that. Equally, you look at the share price. Manchester United have crashed the share price of TeamViewer. Look at the drop in a singular day. And it is starting to recover slightly this morning. But Man United fans are putting pressure on. Manchester United fans have also done this with other sponsors. The sponsors of Manchester United's training ground, Aon, have been targeted in exactly the same way. Aon Trip Insurance is now down to 1.5. Aon Insurance has dropped down to 2. These had very high ratings. Man United fans have made it that 92% of all ratings about Aon online are now negative. Manchester United fans, I'm going to get the figures here again when it comes to TeamViewer. 95% of reviews about TeamViewer are now put down as being negative. And I'm going to do this now because I'm doing my bit here again. I'm sharing the Trustpilot pages for TeamViewer and for Aon. I will be putting negative reviews in. I will be looking to damage their product if they do not want to remove their money from Manchester United. Man United fans have spoken again. They have made it very, very clear to sponsors. They've written an open letter essentially saying not another penny is going to be spent. This has been sent to execs. This has been sent to sponsors, I believe. Man United fans have stepped up and said what they will and what they will not accept moving forward as supporters of Manchester United anymore. And this, whether people like the action or not, is a huge, huge statement. Edwin van der Sar has said that he would work for Manchester United. I'm going to make a statement or a comment to the Glazers. Use your heads and make changes now. If you really want to continue owning this club, make the changes now. Because it demonstrates, again, when fans actually stand up and the masses do something together, not just me or KJ or Stephen Howson or Saeed, and I'm talking about YouTubers that I know have done these things, don't buy shirts anymore. This is a drop in the mere ocean. When Man United fans mobilize, and the protests were great, but yesterday, Manchester United fans wiped multiple millions of pounds of the valuation of TeamViewer. They should target all sponsors continuously in this exact same way. More protests are being arranged. More pressure is going to be put upon the Glazers to make these changes, at the very least, if not to sell the football club. And that share price is a dramatic drop. That's a dramatic drop as well. The hashtag not a penny more. We'll go through that in a little bit of time with you as well. I want to go to some of your comments this morning. The Bill says, Terry, I wish Pep could stay at City for the next 15 years, and I hope we keep winning many titles in that time. I understand why you would want him to stay, and who knows if he ends up doing that or not. It's unlikely based on the fact that most managers don't stay at clubs that long, even back in the old days where managers lasted longer. I know exactly why Man City fans wouldn't want to lose him. I get that completely. I really do. I really do. Terry, would Edwin van der Sar be happy working under the Glazers? Well, he knows there's going to be struggle. He knows there's going to be a lot of pushback. We also know that the Glazers are more involved than people like us to believe in the day-to-day running of the football club. The reason they overlooked him in previous years is they felt that he would interfere too much, be too demanding, and want to put football first. But if these sponsor boycotts, these sponsor attacks, and I'm talking digital, I'm talking financial, not physical here. Let's make sure the rhetoric is right. If this continues, if boycotts continue, if the income drops, if you can crash and demean and reduce the valuation of the product, and the Glazers are desperate to keep hold of it, that could be their compromise to Manchester United fans. And it may not make us all completely happy, but what it will do is it may get the club to be run a little bit better. And in the cold light of day, that is what people would like to see. Let's do some more of your comments that are coming through here. See a few more of these here. Young says, big up to Man United fans. Keep it going. Neil Driscoll says, great news. I think it is great news. I think it's legitimately great news that fans are stepping up and doing something tangible. You know, doing something tangible. And I will put up on the screen in a few moments' time the open letter that has also been sent to the sponsors. I'll put that up on the screen so you can all see that in just a moment's time. I just need to update a slide actually because I didn't have that ready or available. But that's done. That is now done. So I can put that up on the screen in just a moment for you as well. Surely by doing this, your transfer kitty would be hit. I understand that potentially that's the case. But I suppose they're looking at it the other way. Run the club better. I honestly think Manchester United fans would compromise if the right people were instilled to run the club. I think there could be a compromise. Not happiness, not a lovely connection and brilliant relationship, but a compromise could be formed. I think, listen, a lot of the United fans that were at the game on Sunday wanted the game postponed. There's an inkling and a word that they want to try and get more games postponed. They're not worried, some of these fans anymore, about the short-term implications upon the team. They're looking at the long-term future of their football club. And the long-term should nearly always be your priority when you're focusing on anything moving forward. We are going to go to your calls very, very soon as well. Here is the open letter that was sent. It says that 16 years ago, Manchester United Football Club was debt-free. Today, since leveraging a buyout by the Glazer family, 1.5 billion has been removed from the club through dividends payments and shares, with 840 million of that servicing debt. The net debt from the buyout stands at 455 million, meaning that since 2005, only 85 million has been paid towards the debt capital. This has been no ownership finance. There's been no ownership financing in this period. As a commercial partner of the Glazer family, you are legitimate targets of our global fan base because of the combined 279 million per annum you pay will not go towards investment in the squad to compete with the best clubs United now trail. It will go towards it will not go towards refurbishing Old Trafford or training facilities, but now that are now so outdated, they have become a symbol of the Glazers' disinterest. Your sponsorship money will be used for debt servicing and dividends. Sponsoring the Glazers does not support the club. It sustains a parasitical relationship. The Glazers encore on commercial revenue. You exploit the fan base to access the global markets, and fans are left desperate as the club is weighed down by the debt, is unable to marshal in its own resources, complete and compete where it should. Supporting the Glazers, therefore, is an attack on Manchester United Football Club. To that end, Manchester United fans will boycott your products, seek to tarnish your brands, and support your competitors until you terminate your commercial partnerships with the Glazer family. Manchester United fans have sought every possible avenue since the takeover to improve the situation, from peaceful protesting to open letters to fan-led share purchase incentives and consortium bids. The Glazers have ignored every attempt, even after promising to rebuild trust with fans. Glazer declined to participate in a fans forum last week. Desperate, we have been left with no other alternative to attack what the Glazer family rely on: commercial revenue and brand reputation. They have made it very, very clear, the Manchester United Supporters Trust, or Manchester United fans in general, not another penny, and they want the sponsors to pull out. They want the sponsors to move away. That is a very, very clear message. And as we've already said, and as we've already spoken about today, the likes of TeamViewer have been heavily damaged by their Trustpilot scores being pushed down. Multiple millions of pounds have been written off of the valuation of these football clubs, of these sponsors of the football club, in the space of the last 24 hours. I want your views and I want your opinions on this and the Jadon Sancho story this morning as well. And I suppose the question that I'm asking of Manchester United fans: are you willing to sacrifice the short and medium term? It means we might lose Sancho. It means we might not get Varane. It means we may not be able to afford Pogba's new contract. It could mean the club financially is destitute for a season or two if these sponsors were to pull out. But if it meant the Glazers go, would you, as a Manchester United fan, be accepting of this? Would you be accepting of this? I would love to know. There's a comment here saying, Terry, check out Adam Crofton's. I'll go and have a look at that now. Adam Crofton. Let me again have a look at his tweet that's come out here. I haven't seen this yet today. It might just be a new one. Where is it at? Oh, this is in relation to the article in the Athletic. It says here that TeamViewer, Man United's £47 million a year sponsor, taking steps to challenge negative reviews online. Spokesperson told The Athletic, please understand that we do not comment on sports-related actions and the decisions of our cooperation partners, Manchester United. I hear what they're saying there. I hear what's being said there. They're obviously going to come out and not defend themselves. They are going to give those kind of answers. But here's several sources insist that owners do worry hugely about attacks on sponsors. One of Man United's food and drink partners is unhappy about the Super League negative publicity. United told all staff call owners in for a long haul analyst. So I don't make any sense, that sentence. But listen, I've read parts of that article. Of course they care. I've been talking about this since day one. Since day one. If somebody only cares about making money, doesn't matter how powerful they are, if you take the money away, they change. We're not talking here about Pablo Escobar or Michael Corleone. You know, no one's going to get whacked because you take the Glazers' money away. We're not, you know, there's no Broadwalk Empire here, you know? It's not the Sopranos. This is just commercial business. Take the money away and it damages them. If you damage Trustpilot scores, only buy from competitors, actively seek to damage the reputations of these companies, keep the atmosphere around Manchester United toxic, sponsors will pull away. They do not want to be associated. If sponsors pull away, and they're pulling away for negative reasons, new sponsors don't come in as easy, and it will force change. I think that is excellent. I do think that is excellent. We're going to go to your calls now. We're going to go to your calls. We want you to come on and have your say. I want to hear from you this morning. We're going to share the link now in the live comment section, as I always do. I never typed that out before. I want that like button to be hit as well this morning, please, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, our two big stories. Chelsea entering the race to sign Jadon Sancho. On top of that, Edwin van der Sar has said that he wants or would take the Manchester United job. It's one of only 2 jobs in world football that he would take. He would only work at Manchester United and Ajax. Man United needs somebody new. What are you waiting for, Glazers? Go and get him now. Has to be done. First caller of the day, we're going to get... who am I going to put in here? I was about to put Pav in, but Pav disappeared. So I'm going to go to Fixer. Fixer, morning. The news is broke. Jadon Sancho news. Trustpilot scores. Sponsors losing money. What do you want to talk about, mate?
Yeah, basically, I mean, I'm just shocked at the amount of momentum United fans are getting on this. It's really testament to how much the Glazers have fucked up at our club that within the space of 2 weeks we've come this far. I mean, we're literally putting them under threat right now. Their sponsors are like being attacked. All the investments have been like, focused on. And the way I see it, it's going to end in one outcome. They'll have to go eventually. I mean, they're not going to sustain this because we basically had a United versus Liverpool game cancelled, and now we're going after Team Viewer, and basically we're going after all their sponsors. We're going after them basically, and I don't see any way how they're going to get out of this one, to be honest.
Listen, the only way out of it is for them to compromise. For someone who's been involved with unions for years in my working life, compromises can work in the sense of if they employed Edwin van der Sar tomorrow, if they committed to reducing the capital debt by, I don't know, 20, 30 million pound capital wise a year, if they were to pump some of their own money in, if they said, right, we're going to sell 200 million pounds worth of shares and fix Old Trafford, improve the training ground, and pay off 100 million pound of debt. Do you get my point? They could make actions that may not make all Man United fans happy, but they could at least compromise the situation if they truly want to keep hold of the club. If what they say, they've given us statements in the past around they're dedicated to the betterment of the football club. If Man United fans keep on this trajectory, there is no betterment of the football club. Man United fans will self-sabotage the club in the short term to get the Glazers out. So if they truly are dedicated to the club for football reasons, they'll have no choice but to at least compromise, if not sell, because that it puts their integrity in question at the same time. And if we openly can prove to people that this whole they care about the club is nonsense, it puts them under even bigger pressure. The one thing Man United need, though, which Arsenal have right now, is Manchester United fans need a backer. They need they need an investor or a consortium of investors that want to run the club in the right way to come in and say, we will buy the club, because that will apply even pressure. You've seen again, Daniel Ek yesterday updating his Twitter handle where it said like founder of so-and-so, owner of so-and-so, and then and X at the end, like leaving a space for Arsenal Football Club. That kind of pressure doesn't help at all. As a Manchester United fan yourself, what would your reaction be if this meant a couple of summers of no transfers and no money being spent, with the potential of removing the Glazers? Would you accept that as a Manchester United fan?
Well, yeah. I mean, me personally, I'm not the kind of fan that goes, I don't drool over transfers and all that stuff. Anyways, the way I see it, yeah, if we have a good team, then basically, let's go forward with that. But the problem with United is we make so much money globally that even the 1 billion or the 700 and whatever net spend they claim they have spent, it's not even enough. We should be spending more than that. We should be bringing more players in than that.
I had this conversation with one of my brothers yesterday that said, well, you spent lots of money, and people it's because no one listens, because the mainstream media haven't enabled fans to be listened to and heard on this subject for long enough. It isn't even about the money they've spent on transfers in the last 8 years. They've wasted most of that. Most of us would agree that very few of those signings have been
gone. They're all gone. All of them. Memphis Depay, Lukaku, all of them. They're all gone.
And why are they gone? They're gone because we were buying 5 players for a manager that we then turned our back on within 18 months and went in a new direction. It's not just the money they have or haven't spent on players. It's the running of the football club. It's the decision making. And like I've said, they could appease fans. They could find a way to rectify this and maintain ownership, but they're going to have to give people some of what they want. And part of that is run the club with being the best, with the objective of being the best team in the world as your number one priority. And we would see that by your actions, reduce the debt, get football men and women in to run the football club at the highest level. Yes, go after big commercial deals, but ensure that money is being used to improve the stadium, improve the training ground, the infrastructure, the grassroots and local facilities, and of course that first team for both the men and the ladies team. And if that isn't being done, then you vote with your wallets, Manchester United fans. Fixer, thanks for coming on, mate.
Terry, I have a question for you, actually.
We've got lots of calls to get through now. Remember, we're talking Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. Reports this morning coming out saying that Chelsea are looking at him as an alternative to Haaland. Not that they play the same position, but maybe looking at a bit of a false nine. Kai Havertz has been performing brilliantly there. Chelsea fans, would you want him? Who would be the casualties in your squad if Jadon Sancho was to come in? And Manchester United fans have crashed. Manchester United fans have crashed valuations of sponsors. They have destroyed online reputations of sponsors. They've produced and put together an open letter with hashtag not a penny more, telling all of Man United sponsors who are worth hundreds of millions of pounds of income a year to the club that they will boycott and they will damage and they will attack online until they pull their sponsorship away from Manchester United. I want your views. I want your opinions this morning. Stacey here says, I'm okay with that. I've been begging for this from day dot. I've always said, take a look at your owners and you can see the makeup of your club. And you're absolutely right, Stacey. You really are. Next on the show, we've got Man Like Pav. Good morning. How are you? Are you there, Pav? All right. We can't hear from Pav. We'll keep him backstage and see. We'll go to Abs instead. Abs, morning, buddy.
Morning, big man. How are you?
I'm very well. What's your reaction to this news this morning of the boycotts, the trust pilots, the crashing of stock and share prices, Edwin van der Sar saying he would only work for Ajax or Man United? Give me your thoughts, mate.
Yeah, to be fair, a couple of weeks ago, we did speak about Edwin, and we said that's, for me, is the logical person to go for because he knows the club. He's been in that role and in the previous role in Ajax for a long period of time. So he's got experience in that role and he knows the Man United way. So I think it's a brilliant choice. Will they go for it? No. Like, just be realistic. I don't think they will. With what Man United fans are doing at the moment, that's brilliant because at the end of the day, money talks. And that's the thing I always keep trying to say to people. If you affect people's bottom lines and people's pockets, they're going to stand up and listen. If you just protest, okay, that's okay. Protest is good, but what's the action afterwards? And these type of things is what's needed. So I'm all for it as well.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. There's also something on the BBC has just been released, and it shows a new league table that rates how engaged football clubs are with their supporters. Places the big six in the bottom half. It just goes to show that the bigger these clubs get, the less engaged they generally are with fans. In fact, when you look at it, all the lower level clubs are up near the top. The big clubs, like, look at this, is amazing. Chelsea, I know Chelsea have made the big actions yesterday to have fans involved. Chelsea are bottom of all Premier League teams with 78. They're 78th in the engagement table. Liverpool 60th. Spurs are 62nd. Man United are 59th. Arsenal 47th. Even Man City 46th. There is a disconnect between owners of these gigantic clubs and their fans. And do you know what? Chelsea have made a big effort to put fans on the board now, so they'll be left alone. City fans are in cloud cuckoo land because of what they're achieving on the field. But when you start, Liverpool fans are a little less angry because of recent successes. But Spurs, followed by Arsenal, followed by Manchester United, those fans are becoming more and more angry by the day. Let me ask you a question. Big story today that Jadon Sancho may be a target of Chelsea. With everything fans are doing to the club to try and impact income, do you think this is more likely to stop the club from spending? Or do you think they may look at it and go, right, let's land 2 or 3 targets the club needs? Do you think this improves or worsens the chances of a big signing like a Jadon Sancho at Manchester United this summer?
Oh, I've got two takes on this Jadon Sancho thing. Firstly, remember when me and KJ talked about this, and I said I'm worried about Chelsea, and this was like a week ago. I'm like, for some reason, in the back of my head, they're the people that'll come and steal your girlfriend or steal something from you, and I'm not surprised by that. And at the end of the day, the football players are assets to a club. So if you're not buying assets for a club, that's part of the value of a club. So from a business point of view, it doesn't make sense from the owners not to bring in more assets. But like I said, no one knows what the Glazers are thinking. So for me personally, from a business point of view, you still should buy people. If you can't spend 100 million, but you're spending 50 million, you spend it smartly, you're still bringing in an asset for the club.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. It's an interesting one for me. They've got to keep buying still. If they truly mean what they say about how they really feel about the football club, not buying just it gives them no time. I think it loses all level of support for them. And what message? Man United fans could then double down back to the sponsors and say, "Look at this. So we threatened. You've still put your money in, and they haven't even bothered to spend it." They still haven't done it. They still haven't. You've given them 200 odd million pounds. The new shirt sponsorship deal is worth 47 million pounds a year, right? That should enable Manchester United to invest in new players, fix holes in roof. If they don't start doing that, you then throw that back at the sponsors again. You keep that toxicity high. Abs, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. We appreciate that, buddy. Top man. Super chat here from CJ says Avram Glazer. Not even having the decency to apologize to fans. That tells you a lot about not just him, but the rest of the Glazers. Hashtag Glazers out. Keep your super chats coming this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hitting that like and that share button. We've got KJ coming on soon. We've got Manny. We've got Nick. We've got Aaron backstage. But first up, Pav is back with us now. Hopefully we can hear you now, Pav.
Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, we can do. What do you want to say, buddy?
Yes, obviously, quite a few things were breaking on social media last night. Obviously, that video of Avram Glazer just buoying off all the fans again, just, acting like he's some sort of don when you're not.
We lost you again. I'm not too sure what happened there. We lost you. Try and call back if you can, please. That would be great. Next up on the show, we have got Manny. We're getting Manny on the show. What are you saying, Manny?
Hi, Terry. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. What do you want to say, buddy?
Regarding listen, I heard this excuse from rival fans that we, Manchester United, or the Glazers have spent £1 billion. And Terry, if you look at it in another perspective, that is another reason why these guys are terrible owners. Because if we have spent £1 billion, or I don't know if it's pounds, why are we still in these positions? And so, to the rival fans that say, "Oh, we have spent a lot of money," that's, first of all, that's not the reason we fans are arguing a lot. That's one of the reasons, but that can also be used as a reason that they have been terrible owners. And in regards to the sponsorship, this is the right thing to do as a United fan base. We need to target the sponsors, not in a like violence way, but in the way that we must let them know which type of owners we have at our club, so that many other sponsors don't associate with Manchester United because of the Glazer. So this is the right thing to do. The best thing that can happen is probably our biggest sponsors to cut tie with Manchester United, but that's unlikely right now. But we hope that they can happen in the future.
I couldn't agree with you more, Manny. I couldn't agree with you more. Great call, buddy. Thank you very, very much indeed. And I think that's right, that these protests are not, and these, the attacks are not about violence. They are not about damaging buildings. They are not about going to the head offices of these places. You don't need to do that. Trust me, a bad Trustpilot score, the boycotting of the product, Man United fans telling Aon, we're going to go to your biggest competitors. Trustpilot, we're going to go to the biggest competitors. I don't even know who all our sponsors are off the top of my head. But if we go to their biggest competitors and make them aware of that, Trust me, all it then takes is for a competitor to pull into that. So, you know, the watch sponsor. Imagine the watch sponsor says, listen, any Man United, official Man United members, you know, we'll give you a 20% discount of all our watches. Like people, these things can happen. And if you start to damage the bottom line of the sponsors, they will be knocking on the door. Do you know why they'll be knocking on the door? And I've said, you know, people say things like, oh, sponsors guarantee the money. It takes a long time to damage. It doesn't. There are widgets. There is no sponsorship deal that's just, oh, we're going to give you £50 million a year and leave you alone. You have to hit numbers. You have to hit push-through rates. You have to hit widgets. These things exist on all capacities of sponsorship deals. If those numbers not only are not being hit, but the competitors of the sponsors are growing because of a boycott, the money people are knocking on the door. They're knocking on the door. It says Chelsea are bottom of the engagement level because we trust our board. Listen, I'm not having a pop. It's just giving you the facts in terms of the amount of engagement from the board level to fans is the lowest. But like I already said, you've addressed it and you're putting fans on the board now. So you're going to go up to being one of the best in the country. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Let's do some more of your comments here. I'm not too sure what happened to Pav. He's having a nightmare of equipment today. Terry, keep up the fight, bro. We're getting there, but we need lads to go to Florida. Well, I actually did see a shed something earlier on today. There was a protest. I don't remember the country. I want to say, I don't remember. I retweeted. I have to go and have a look. So the Man United fans are now globally. What we need to maybe do globally is either go to Man United offices, Man United shops that are owned by the club, or to major sponsors and maybe protest it. Like there are things that can be done all around the world if people really want this change at their football club. And it seems to be really picking up huge traction. Next on the show, my guy KJ's here. Morning, mate. What are you saying?
I told you about these pagans, fam. I'm not even talking about the Glazers. I'm talking about them man Chelsea, fam. Ruining everything. Always coming to the party, stealing your things and leaving, fam. Go away, bruv. You don't need Sancho, fam. Go away. Leave us alone. Let us actually have one thing that's good. Flipping out, bruv. I'm sick of these man coming in, stealing everything from everyone. Go get your own targets. Go scout someone else for once, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, in terms of our situation with our actual pagans, we just need to keep it up. We just need to keep it up. These protests before never got Sky News to go and question the owners. They're now sending out reporters to go question them. When has that ever happened? So what's happening now is a good start. But I saw this one guy on Twitter, yeah, saying we need to put more money into the club. That's how we're going to get rid of them. Because it's the debt. It's about the debt. And once the debt is cleared, they'll want to sell. And I was just like, what kind of world do you live in? If we continue to make them more money, why the hell would they leave? Plus, they don't care about the debt because they would have cleared it years ago because they've had so many opportunities to clear that debt. So that guy, yeah, I don't know if he's a Glazer simp. I don't know if he's just deluded. Maybe he just loves Man United to a point where it's like, I just want to put money in and hopefully that helps. But stop doing this to ourselves. Stop. If you're one of them fans that think, oh, putting more money in is going to get them to leave, you are dead wrong. Putting more money in is going to make them stay even longer. Stop putting money in. And as for Edwin, bruv, I beg you convince them to hire you, bruv, because at least you'll do something to help our club.
Well, there's two things there. One, as long as the income remains, the debt will never be paid down because banks, incomes of gigantic football clubs is a nigh on certainty due to the loyal fan base. Football clubs have I don't like using this word, but the commercial element is almost a guarantee because the custom comes from loyal fans. So it isn't like, oh, I used to like that bakery, but I've now found a better one. People don't change their allegiances with football clubs like they do with other businesses. The banks know this. So the banks will continue to finance. It doesn't matter if one bank says, oh, we're going to call in the debt now. Another bank will lend the Glazers the money. I wouldn't be surprised if things continue with that challenge. Might be 4 or 5 years' time. The Glazers are like, right, we've got an opportunity here to buy another mall in Dubai or America, wherever. We need to raise £100 million. Our share prices are down a bit. We don't want to sell them because that'll make it crash. I know what we'll do. We'll borrow another 1.5, £100 million against Manchester United, and then we'll pay that debt out to ourselves via a dividends payment, and then we'll use that money and that's what they'll do, because banks will, as long as Man United can afford it and we can, banks will keep lending against us as an asset. And these are the types of things that I think legislation needs to come in and protect. Some kind of ruling that you can only leverage, the only debt you can put against a football club is used for the football club, not, businesses do this all the time. A company that I was working for not long ago, they took like a £10 million loan out, and £6.5 million of it got paid to the owner as dividends. It was his money. So even if the business never pays that money back, he's got that money, right? This is what happens. That's fine when it's your business, your day-to-day business. But football clubs, I do feel, are different. The Edwin van der Sar thing, for me, again, if they really want to continue owning the club, they've got to make moves like that, give a certain amount of control and power and anonymity to him, and maybe, just maybe, then you'll see a slight relaxing from Manchester United fans, because at the very least, from my part, I can only speak for myself here, I want them out first and foremost. If I can't get them out, then at the very least, what I want is the club to be run much, much better. Edwin van der Sar and signing Sancho and maybe selling some of your shares and paying off some of the debt, those are 3 quick, simple actions that could improve Man United's mood and feeling towards the Glazer ownership to at least a happy medium. Do you think there's any chance of them doing that though, KJ?
No. I don't think that these men care enough to actually hire the correct people for football. They hire correct people for the business. So for Manchester United PLC, they'll get the correct people. Look at Woodward for the last 8 years. He was there for business purposes, not football purposes. Then the heat got to him and he's like, right, I need to hire some football people because I'm getting smoked, bro. They ain't going to make the right football decisions because they don't know a thing about football, for one, and then nor do they care. So we've been talking to some people who may know certain people in terms of the football world, and they tell us, oh, listen, if Man United is serious, they'll be able to get certain players. We can't trust that.
Well, yeah, I mean, just to open that up a little bit into rather revealing names, it relates to Jadon Sancho, and what we were told in a conversation yesterday is that Man United can sign him. He would play for Man United, but Man United have to be serious. They have to bid the right money, and they have to just stop pussyfooting about and get the business done. And that's the problem. That's the difference between us and Chelsea. It isn't really financial. It's just putting your money where your mouth is, stepping up and getting things done. And that's where, again, rivals don't understand. The reason why we've hemorrhaged money is because we haven't been serious in our approach for players we wanted. We don't get them. And then it's like, oh, we just got to buy it. We might as well. We had an opportunity to buy Tony Kroos and we pulled away from it. There's certain players that they're ready to come in. They're ours. And then we've changed our minds at the last minute and then bought absolute trash. Or the other way, we've had 2 or 3 players that have been about to sign for City and we've just gone, should we take them instead? Yeah, let's offer double the money. We're run. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic the way we've been run as a football club. I'm not saying that I could go in and run a football club. I don't have the qualifications to do it, but I know I would do a better job from a football point of view. Do you know why? Because I just go and hire the best in the business. I wouldn't need to know what I was doing. I would just, you know what? I don't know how to build a house, but my extension, I hired really good builders. Do you know what I mean? So I'm building an extension, not with my own hands, but I'm subcontracting. Yeah. I'm white labeling the process. That's the point.
The thing. As an owner of a football club, you're a steward, you're a custodian. You're supposed to look after it. You're supposed to care for it. You're supposed to make sure that's in the good hands. No one's saying that Joel or Avram Glazer or any of them pagans, have to be in Manchester 24/7, be in the offices all the time and make the decisions. No one's saying you got to do that. Just allow us to use our own funds that we make, that the club makes, and put the right people in charge who know about football to then make said decisions. We don't care if you've got X amount of bankers in there to make sure the money's cool. Fine. No one's saying don't have money management. You need it. But when it comes to the sport that you're in, you want to raise the value to 7 or 10 billion pounds. You know how you do that as a football club? Being the best in the world So if that is your goal, you have to hire the right football people. And the thing is, their goal does not match their means. It does not match their strategy. So this is why I call them idiots, fam. They make no flipping sense.
Well, listen, I hear what you're saying, KJ. Thanks for coming on this morning, mate. We'll chat to you again later on today. Big preview later for the Europa League games as well,
Best
mate.
European competition in the world.
Exactly. Speak to you soon, mate. Take care, brother. Thank you. There's a comment here from Matt who says a good and reliable source has said that Tuchel has identified 3 huge signings that he wants: Lukaku, Aquinas, and Sancho. If Chelsea sign those 3 players under Tuchel's tutelage, they will seriously contend for Man City's Premier League title next season, no doubt. Stacey here says, if the Glazers renovate and upgrade Old Trafford, pay down some of the debt and bring in Van der Sar, I would be willing to be patient and see. And I think a lot of Man United fans, if they were being truly honest with themselves, would. But you would still hold the Glazers at arm's length and keep an eye on what they're doing. We're going to try and get Pav back on again now. Pav, you back with us?
Can you hear me, mate?
I can, bro. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, my phone and my headset just don't want me chatting this morning. Yeah, I hear what everyone's saying this morning, KJ, yourself, and I echo a lot of it. Like, these owners, like, obviously that super chat where they just said, I'll be patient to see if they renovate this and that. They ain't doing any of that. We've got one of the worst training complexes in the Premier League. I think there was, I read like quite a lot of stuff yesterday, and they were saying it's not even in the top 10 compared to other clubs. And the state of that stadium, mate, I'm 6'5". I can't even sit in them seats properly without having my knees crushed. That's how bad the stadium is at the moment. Like, the amount of people complain about the seating, everything, like, there's so much crap in that stadium. They haven't fixed any of it. It's been like that for years. And I don't expect the Glazers to allow funds to renovate that stadium at all. It's a crap hole. And obviously, a week or so ago, I said about we need to bring in someone trustworthy in the football pyramid. I don't expect that either. I think what these owners want is someone to come in and do what Ed Woodward was doing with the commercial side. And it's just going to be the same cycle again. I'd even go as far as saying that I wouldn't be shocked if Ed Woodward does a U-turn and says he's not resigning. That's how bad I think this club is run. Like, that's how bad I think the Glazers would say, the worst is over. Just like, go back to your job. Nothing's going to happen. Like, no. Every single one of these people in this club, top to bottom, in the running side of things, have lost the trust of the league, its fans, even far as the sponsors. Like, you've seen what's happening since yesterday, all these negative reviews and whatnot. Like, it's about time. Like, I know it's not the sponsors' fault. They just want their brand to be out there. They want more business for themselves. But we've had enough as fans. Like, we want these lot out. And if it means that you have to take a hit as a company, as a business, I'm sorry, man. It is what it is. Yeah, we just got to get these owners out, man. I wouldn't be too shocked if we didn't get Sancho and Chelsea did. Like, that club's run better. Their fans can trust their board to make these signings. And you said something about would we be willing to go a few years without these world-class signings or whatever? I would take the hit. Like, I had an email from this club a few days ago about test piloting the Fulham and the Wolves games. I ain't doing that. Me and my missus both had our jabs, and we've both had that email. I mean, other people would have as well. We ain't going, man. I've had enough of this, man. I had a season ticket. I was on a waiting list for time, man. I rejected that. I went and bought a 50 grand car. I come down to Old Trafford last year. I just went, nah, fun this, man. I'm not going up there, man. I've had enough. Go there for what? Nothing changes, man. Like, I can't be asked with this club.
Mate, now listen, bro. I completely hear what you're saying, mate. I do. And 6'5". Sorry, that's still you're 6'5".
Yeah, bro, I'm 6'5", bro.
Jesus Christ, mate. Listen, you be careful up there, and we'll speak to you again soon. Top man, Pav. Thank you very, very much. Bro. 6'5". Fucking hell. I was actually looking for a tweet as well because I think that people realize how much control the Glazers actually have at Manchester United in terms of the day-to-day running. It's very, very high indeed. Let's go to some of your comments that are coming through here. Yeah, the connection wasn't great there. DJ said, okay, that's an argument amongst each other. I'm just looking at some of these. Do you know, most of your comments are not even about what we're talking about. That's why I like looking at them sometimes. Joe says, I don't know why Chelsea needs Sancho. I thought they have a generational talent in Callum Hudson-Odoi. Yeah. Stacey here says their funds right now that are in front of the Glazers' homes as we speak right now protesting. Oh, they're fans right now, do you mean? Sorry, I'm not understanding what that means. Protesting, I think this thing is just starting, so stay tuned. Interesting. I didn't know that was going on there. Sharik says there's a 3-foot gap between his phone and his headphones. No wonder his connection is bugging. Oh, come on, man. Big game tonight as well. How are Chelsea fans feeling about tonight that are tuning in right now as well? I would love to know. I'd love to know. Terry, where do you honestly think Haaland will go? To the club that pays the most money. Simple as that. If Chelsea offered 200 grand a week and Real Madrid offered 250,000, I think he'd go Real Madrid. I'm not saying he's a mercenary, but I think he's going to go for the best deal possible. I think he's going to go to 2 and 4 the best deal possible. There's just no doubt about that in my mind at all. 110%, that's what I think will happen in relation to this deal. Petrified. I get why you're petrified. I do get why you're petrified. I really, really do. Matt says, I am confident. I think we'll win 2-0. We will get an early goal on the counter, and then they will lose their heads. Yeah, I think you will. I said the same thing. I knew that. Just funny this morning, right? People are calling me out saying, Terry, you said that City demolished PSG. No, they didn't. Man City won 4-1. Paris Saint-Germain had no answer to City's plan at all. Not one moment outside the opening 20 minutes in the first leg. And they didn't have a shot on target since the 29th minute of the first leg. So no plan, no action, no counter, no shot on target for over 150 minutes. And you lost 4-1. That's demolished. That is the epitome of demolished, disintegrated, smashed. And barring the post and a couple of good saves from Navas, it could have been even worse. So for me, smashed. Absolutely smashed. Poch has got a lot of work to do there. There's no doubt about it. And a few people as well calling me out saying, I can't believe you said that Neymar's status. Let me just reiterate my stance on what I meant last night about the status of Neymar. Neymar is one of the most highly talented and highly skilled footballers on planet Earth. But status as a football player is different from your overall ability as a footballer. A bit like the argument between best and greatest. That always comes up. R9 at his peak, some would say is the best ever. Is he as great as a Cristiano Ronaldo or a Messi? I don't think he can be. Longevity, trophies, total goals. They're two different debates. Status and how good you are, again, are two different things. So when I speak about clutch moments, memories, the idolizing that fans have within you, and the universal acceptance from the vast majority that you have this kind of standing. When I think of Thierry Henry's and Cristiano Ronaldo's, Lionel Messi's, Zidane's, Xavi's, Iniesta's, Ryan Giggs, Wayne Rooney's, Didier Drogba's, Zinedine Zidane's, R9's. Whenever you mention these players, it's met, generally speaking, with universal, oh, what a player. And that's because at different times in their careers, they were the talisman. They were the anchors. They were the main dish. And they delivered at the same time. Neymar's had some great moments. A lot of people talk about what he's done in quarterfinals and semi-finals and finals for Barcelona. And that's amazing. Wish I had a career like that. But Neymar himself disagrees with you. Neymar himself disagrees with you. He left Barcelona to be the main dish, to be the talisman. And the status of someone who delivers the biggest accolades, the biggest results, the biggest moments, or the most consistency when they're the talisman, when they're the biggest fish in the pond. I'm talking that is the gargantuan sort of mythological, legendary status within the game that I believe Neymar is seeking. And I don't quite think he has got there yet. That's my view. That's my opinion. I don't think he's got there yet with the Paris Saint-Germain fan base. I don't think he's got there yet with the majority of football fans saying, yeah, he's there. There's always a debate. And while there's a big debate, you haven't achieved it as of yet. So for me, I hope he does. Do you know why I hope he gets there? And do you know why I hope he makes it to that point? Because he's such a talent. He's such a quality player. He has so much ability. He has so much skill. So entertaining. He's won lots. He's scored lots. What he's doing for Brazil. I don't know any Brazil. I don't know. I'm not talking. I would argue, I don't think he comes onto the same planet as Rivaldo's, Ronaldinho's, R9's, the Nilsons, Romario's, Pele's. I don't think he's regarded in the same light, not by the younger generation, but by the Brazilian football. I think he's a step down from that. It's a status thing, not an ability thing. Is he on par with those players on ability every day of the week? There's no doubt. So I probably didn't explain myself well last night. Tired, excited, and whatnot. But I'm talking status in the game, and status is a big thing for football players. It's the very reason or the main drive behind why Neymar left Paris Saint-Germain in the first place, to be that talismanic figure, to be the centerpiece, the crown and jewel. Maybe he doesn't have that about him, but all the other players I've mentioned, in my view, do. Centerpieces, integral. And when they were needed to be the main individuals, they truly stepped up, especially the attacking players that I mentioned. Is he better than some of them on a technical level? Yes, hands down. But there's a difference for me. A comment here says, I think the best part of the night was Di Maria getting sent off. That made my day. But unfortunately, I think Chelsea will win tonight. Gerard says, what do you think is more likely? The Glazers spend 150 million this summer and try to appease fans, or spend nothing out of spite? Depends. It depends if Man United fans can actually damage the brand, if they can stop the income coming. Because if they appease, the spending comes back. I think it's an easy rectification for Man United, whether people want to admit it or not. It's almost as if how do I put this? They can compromise and talk and say, what changes could we make to get your money coming back, and then make those changes. But they may look at it and try and call the bluff. So not out of spite, they might call the bluff of Man United fans and see whether they stick to this. It'll be an interesting one. It'll be an interesting one for me. Irish Silks, I'm not putting your comment up, but there we go. And when I say Denilson, I'm not talking about the Denilson that played for Arsenal. I ain't talking about that Denilson, bro. I ain't talking about that Denilson. Do your research. Do your research, bro. Do your research. And I'd love to speak to Brazilian fans. And I'm talking Brazilians that love their football. I'd love to know their thoughts. And again, I could be educated on this. And if I'm educated to see as to why he's beyond those players, or looked at in the same light by all generations and it's universal, then I'll hold my hands up and say, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. But when I listen to football debate and conversation, when someone's still splitting opinion, then they haven't achieved that status. That are not Henry. It's almost, you mentioned his name. Yeah, greatest ever Premier League player. It's just boom, done. Status is there. People don't even want to have the debate. He's that respected. Drogba, GOAT, clutch, leader, big game player, legend. It's just undeniable. I'm not talking none of it's about ability. Zidane, same. No one debates they're not great players. A few idiots, but no one major. I want Neymar to get there. That's what I'm saying to you. It's not about, I want to keep him down. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. Do me a favor, everyone who's tuning in, hit that like and that share button. Please, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like and that share button. Little Big Man says, Neymar is a punk. Glad he lost. He mocked Haaland and Kimmich when PSG beat them. Neymar is childish. Neymar has no help with that trash PSG squad. People are not trying to convince us that they're not doing a Hazard here, are they? Blaming the squad of PSG as to why he didn't perform. I've seen that actually. Can you imagine? That PSG squad is one of the strongest squads in world football. Can you imagine? Come on. And that's my point. If that's how you're defending, man. There we go. Neymar is better than Rashford. Yeah, I know. And Rashford doesn't have the status of those players in the game either. Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. What's your point? Great. I know that he's not. I know he's better than Rashford. What's your point? Don't mean nothing, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Don't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. It's like Usher's not as good as Michael Jackson. Doesn't have the status of Michael Jackson. Yeah, but he's better than Justin Bieber. So what? That's not a conversation, bruv. I don't know. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Oh. Celine Dion is not as good as Beyonce. Oh, yeah, I know. It doesn't have the status of Beyonce. Yeah, well, she's better than Susan Boyle, though. Cool. I don't get it. I don't get it. Craig here says, Neymar, who is better, reminds me of Ricardo Quaresma. Unbelievable talent, but wasn't quite clutch enough to be considered. I'd actually know who that other person is. I think I do, but I don't quite know. Is it who I think you're talking about? I've had a brain fart moment. He's the Portuguese guy, right? That was meant to be as good as Ronaldo. Yeah, like 37. Look, that's disrespectful, Craig. He's much better than him. I get the remind you of, but no, look, Neymar is a top class player. You're not listening to me. He's top class. I'm talking about status in the game. And the status is there when it's almost universally accepted. Like Thierry Henry, like Zidane, like Messi, like Ronaldo, like Lewandowski. Give you an example. Harry Kane hasn't got to that status because it's challenged too much when you put it out there by the masses. Has to do this. There's always something else he's got to do. KDB is close to achieving it. I think a few more major trophies, a few more years, and he'll be there. Aguero's got that status where it's just, what a player. Everyone just raves about everything about them. When you get a player that people are like, yeah, I don't like this though, and this, and he hasn't quite done it here. That's not the state. You haven't got the status if people do that, have you? It's just a fact, unfortunately. It's just a fact. I know our eye test ain't happy. If you want to come on eye test, feel free to, buddy. Do me a favor, everyone who's tuning in, hit the like and share button. We will go over the main stories from today as well. First up, Chelsea are set to rival Liverpool and Manchester United for the transfer of Jadon Sancho for the price of just £78 million. Aside from that, there's been some other interesting news today that Manchester United Football Club could go after and potentially could bring in Edwin van der Sar to be the new CEO when Ed Woodward leaves. Edwin van der Sar has told ESPN that he would only work for Man United or Ajax. Go get him. Bring him to Manchester United now. Go bring him in now. Super chat here says, Neymar has hurt his legacy more at Paris Saint-Germain. He needs to move. And maybe that's what it is with Neymar. Maybe he's gone there to be the... I had people last night sending me all these things that he did at Barca. But you're proving my point with that. As far as I'm concerned, you're proving my point. He left to be the main dish. He left to be the headline act. He wanted the status that comes with being the main man in a team that achieves greatness. And he hasn't been the main man in a team that hasn't quite yet achieved greatness. So he hasn't got the status. It's just hand in glove. Listen, stands of Neymar. Neymar disagrees with you based on him leaving Barca. Based on it. He just did. I love it. I'm not talking out of disrespect of him. I'm giving you facts. Thanks for that super chat there. Let's do a few more of your calls here. First up, we're going to have Nick on the show. Nick, welcome to the Terrace. What do you want to say, Nick?
Thank you very much, Terry, for having me on, man. How you going?
I'm very well. I'm very well. What are you here to say, buddy?
Well, about that Sancho links, as a Chelsea fan, I'm just so excited, honestly. I think we genuinely need him, and he could be the missing piece to our puzzle under Thomas Tuchel. Hakim Ziyech hasn't necessarily worked out. I always want him to do well. Of course I do. But let's be real, I don't think he wants to play that high intensity, high pressing style that Tuchel wants to, that all out football. And Ziyech just hasn't been consistent enough. And I think because the board now, I think, are taking more of a no-nonsense approach and just putting money where our mouths are. So we're basically, I think Sancho definitely over Haaland is more realistic for Chelsea, because I don't see Haaland going this year. Let's be real, because Dortmund will want to keep him for another year, even though if it means they can get 100 million less for them, because like Real Madrid will come up and snap him up, But I'm just really excited to see these things, man, and I just hope we can seriously get him through. And back to that Neymar thing, just briefly, man. I'm sorry, this man just doesn't pull up in the big games. I was watching Jason Cundy on TalkSport tonight can't remember what's their show called, the Sports Bar, right? And he was saying something along the lines of like, Neymar is just technically gifted. There's no doubting his ability on the ball. Like, he is probably top 5 in the world with that. But the thing is, he's too selfish, and he just doesn't want to take the greater role for his team, and he's too self-centric and other things like that. So that's why, if Neymar can just take a step back and look at himself and look at the bigger picture, in my opinion, and say, how can I improve my game overall, then I think he could become truly elite and well respected within the football community.
It's interesting you say that, because I know he turned up in big games at Barcelona as an example. And there's a comment here that says, wouldn't it be considered as a legacy from being the most dangerous front three in the world, MSN? I agree with you. He was part of an amazing trio. But my point is this. He left to be the standout, not to be third of those three. His name was used last, maybe because MSN is the old messaging service, but Messi was the main guy. Suarez was looked at as, was a star at the time in front of him, in my opinion. And Neymar was third. And this is the point I would make. Even with what Jason Cundy said, is why he doesn't have the status in the game of those players I've mentioned, because there is that conjecture. There is that challenge. There is that, yeah, but he dives, or yeah, but he's selfish. Yeah, but he's not done it at the highest level for PSG when it's mattered, when he's gone there to be the talisman. And this is the whole point I'm making. I want him to achieve the status where everybody just says, what a player, what a career, great goals, great moments, drag these teams. Like, I want him to achieve that status because his talent deserves it. Right now, he just isn't. The fact is that half the chat says he is and half the chat says he isn't, is the proof that he doesn't have the status yet. Because if you turn around and said Thierry Henry is one of the greatest footballers to ever play football, you get universal agreement. That's the status we're talking about. And the fact is that you've got half the chat disagreeing with one another on this. That is the proof. The fact you're arguing with it is the proof that it isn't quite there yet. And he's got a way to go. But what is he, 29, 30? He's got 3 or 4 more years to do it. I think he might need to move away from Paris Saint-Germain because something mentality-wise isn't right at that club. But listen, Nick, thank you very much for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate that, buddy. Top man. Thank you. Next up, we're going to get Ryan on. Ryan's a Liverpool fan. I actually had a super chat before I wanted to do that. Otherwise, I'm gonna miss out. First of all, Ahmed, thank you for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. That means a great deal to us here. And Stacey says, trash squad. Are you for real? Mbappe, Aquinos, Icardi, Kimpembe, Verratti. I know people calling the PSG squad trash. I think that's criminality to football. I think that's as criminal to football as the Glazers are to Manchester United. It's a madness. Ryan's here with me now, though, on the show. Morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you very much for having me on the channel, Terry. You keep me up. I am now at work after 5 in Canada, and it's really tough. Normally, these hours I'm going to take a 15-minute sleep. Since you're up, why not join the conversation? No, first and foremost, Neymar don't have no loyalty. You know what I mean? He should stay at Barcelona. Since him going to Paris Saint-Germain, I get a lot of injury because he stopped too many times on the ball. He slowed down the game too much trying to beat play and all of these stuff. When him at Barcelona, tiki-taka football, one touch, he get less injured FC Barcelona. They start show you that. Next thing, Messi tell him that, listen, stay and get more mature. So when you're on your own now, you can do your stuff. When it come on to the big game, Neymar bucket under the pressure. Look at the Brazil team. The Brazil team play much better without Neymar in the team. But that is Paris Saint-Germain problem, and that is FC Barcelona problem. Now, I want to talk about my club, Liverpool Football Club. So, Liverpool fans, just take your mind off of Sanchez because FSG not going to spend that money this summer to purchase Sanchez. So, leave that down to Chelsea and Man United because we're not going to have money. What FSG going to do? They're going to give Jurgen Klopp that 80 million and say, listen, go and buy 2 players and then they turn them in world class. Liverpool fans, just stop build up an expectation to get hurt. We don't buy superstar, we build superstar. And that's show you from FSG there at the club for the last 10 years. So don't hype up yourself. Sancho is not for we. He probably going to Chelsea. As you guys say, once Chelsea see a nice pretty girl, they're going to take it away from Man U or Arsenal. They love to do that. So they have the most money. So leave that. Liverpool, keep low your expectation come this summer because it look like we're not going to play Champions League and we're not going to have money in the bag at this moment. So yeah, Neymar, no loyalty. I don't like Neymar because he's the one who tell Coutinho to come to Barcelona. As Coutinho go to Barcelona and leave. So leave that, Neymar, man. You're a diver.
Listen, there we go. Ryan has said, Addy say this morning, top man, thanks for coming on, brother, and we'll speak to you soon. Big words said there about, not a problem, my bro. Big words said there about Liverpool. iTest here says Neymar was better than Messi in the 2015 Champions League, but did not get respect. That's not because he doesn't have the status. That's the point I'm making here. What did he come third in the Ballon d'Or that year? He come third with 7% of the vote. Ronaldo comes second with 27%. Messi got 41%. I think Robert Lewandowski came fourth with like 4 or 5%. Suarez came fifth with 3. Like he was in that same echelon with those individuals, but he left. I respect Neymar as a footballer, but he left to achieve his individual greatness and status within the game. And look at the debate today. People don't think he's achieved it yet. The status isn't something that can be awarded to you with the trophy. It's awarded by consensus. It's awarded by the mass opinion being in your favor. It's the way the cookie crumbles. That's how it is. Let's do some more of these comments here. Most people, by the way, don't agree with you on that. And that's a lot of the comments here are saying you're absolutely mad in relation to that. He was very good that season. There's no doubt about it. And I don't even think he's an overrated footballer. I think he's a brilliant football player, Neymar. I really, really do. But status and your ability are two different things as far as I'm concerned. But listen, we're done. We're done with this morning's stream. We're back later on this afternoon. Big preview and build up to the Europa League games, primarily focusing on Arsenal. We're live after Real Madrid versus Chelsea this evening as well. Do me a big favor and hit that like button right now, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Until next time, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again